252 million years ago, a drastically different time and place than today. The world, a changing mess of hot rock, floating plates, and climatic shifts, was changing into something of a hellscape. 252 million years ago, over a very short period of 100,000 years, the world changed from a steaming lost world of strange oddities to a lava-ridden globe in which over 95% of all life, plants included, went extinct. This time is known as the Great Dying. However, life forms rebounded from this incredible event. New forms took shape many millions of years later during the geologic period known as the Triassic. These new forms, now capable of taking on all niches imaginable, diversified into shapes never before seen, with many bizarre experimentations of evolution. One of these strange organisms is the long-necked, B-movie star Shringasaurus indicus, the Indian Horned Reptile. As stated, the Earth went through a dramatic change 252 million years ago. This mass extinction marked the end of the Permian period and the beginning of the Triassic period. With this grand opening came a whole slew of new animals, given the evolutionary room to spread their limbs and diversify into new and efficient forms. All of these animals, that eventually went extinct as the Triassic marched on, are examples of successes of evolution, not failures. They show that the world rebounded drastically in comparison with how horrible it was only a couple 100,000 or million years prior. This time could be considered the opposite of a Great Dying, essentially the Triassic Explosion, for, much like the Cambrian Explosion, new forms of life were taking hold of the world and trying out new and inventive methods of survival. During this period, a menagerie of animals adapted to a wide range of niches. There were stocky-limbed reptiles that climbed trees with their enormous hand claws and prehensile tails, known as the Drepanosaurids. The last remnants of the Permian period, the Synapsids, took on many new forms, including the herbivorous pig-like Dicynodonts, the dog-like Cynodonts, and eventually smaller forms that became the ancestors of anatomically modern mammals. There were crocodile surrogates that took to the waterways and reached massive sizes, some as large as killer whales. These were the Phytosaurs, and, the subject of this file, a group of oddballs amongst the world of oddballs, the Azendosaurids. The Azendosaurids were a group of rather interesting creatures. They belonged to a bigger group called the Alacotosauria. All of the Alacotosaurians shared a similar body plan in that they had longer necks, short rounded heads with teeth built for processing vegetation, and a rather lizardy body shape, with sprawling legs and a long tail. However, the Azendosaurids were unique amongst this bigger grouping for their ornamentation as well as their size, for many could surpass 4 meters. Shringasaurus, a recently discovered new member to this group, gives a greater insight into the family's Bauplan, or body plan, than was previously known, for there are only 3 genera within this family, Shringasaurus included. The other 2 include the fragmentary Azendosaurus and the more well-preserved Pomilaria. In India lies a fossiliferous stratigraphic unit termed the Denwa Formation. The remains of Shringasaurus were laboriously extracted from the red mudstone of these deposits by Saradhi Sengupta, Martin de Escura, and Saswati Bandyopadhyay. There was a surprisingly large diversity of remains uncovered. About 7 individuals were found in varying stages of ontogenetic growth. Enough material was found to determine what the skeleton of this animal looked like, and from there, what the animal looked like in life. The rocks from which the Shringasaurus material was recovered have been dated to the Anisian stage of the Middle Triassic period, roughly 247 to 242 million years ago. Shringasaurus was a massive animal, reaching 3 to 4 meters in length. As you can see, it had a very long neck, somewhat convergent with the longer necks of sauropods. But the strangest part of this animal, quite obviously, is its head. Look at that thing. It looks like one of the poor iguanas that got horns glued on its head for the Lost World remake. The head of Shringasaurus was round and filled to the brim with small, leaf-shaped teeth, the better for mowing down leaves and shoots, not for tearing apart small animals as its most unique feature might suggest. The head doesn't stop there, no. This animal sported a pair of forward-facing horns, smoothly bent in a 90-degree angle. The bony projections were not excessively large, but the grooves present in the fossil material may suggest that there was a keratinous sheath covering the horns when it was alive. If so, this would mean the horns could have been quite a ways longer. Just look at this thing. It looks like a cross between a Komodo dragon, an okapi, a crocodile, and a Carnotaurus. Despite the somewhat predatory appearance of its facade, the horns of this plant-eating behemoth are actually more convergent, both visually and possibly behaviorally, to the Ceratopsians of the Cretaceous. The younger individuals recovered from the Denois Formation show that this animal's horns increased and dramatically changed as it reached adulthood. This, and the fact that both these reptiles and the Ceratopsians have these structures and dramatically accelerate the growth of them as they reach sexual maturity, further adds evidence to the hypothesis that these animals with pointy projections were using them for interspecies displays, both a product of sexual selection. Shringasaurus lived in an ecosystem that also housed many other animals, a good percentage of which are indeterminate and known only from fragmentary remains. Ceratopsians, a genus of extinct lungfish, swam the waterways while it was hunted by the temnospondyle amphibians Paracyclotosaurus and Cherninia. Indeterminate remains from a group of very crocodilian-like amphibians, the Trematosaurids, also inhabited the lakes and streams. The brachiopoid amphibian Rhynchosaurids and Icynodonts are also known from indeterminate remains from the Denois Formation. The ecosystem was a bushy floodplain and would have resembled much of the other regions of Pangaea, missing only a few small theropod dinosaurs to make it resemble other places even more. However, dinosaurs have yet to be found in these deposits. Despite the fact that this animal went extinct, its remains were fossilized and rather well preserved. Enough to know about this strange and fascinating creature. The never-ceasing sands of time have revealed yet another organism amongst the vast menagerie we call life. And our knowledge of past life will never be the same.